All they care about is how much you're going to pay them. They don't care about how you're going to develop them, which is all what we've always done. So why are we doing this?
And what blows my mind with all of this is you got all these people saying, oh, well, Nick Saban, look at him. He's just old and bitter, and he's all mad now because these young guys, they're getting paid, and they're finally getting some money. Really? Really, bro? Come on, you don't even believe that. But the difference is, and I really want you to hear me on this, these players are wanting to get paid before they bring any value whatsoever to the table. Well, here we are again. As you can see on your screen right here, Nick Saban, he's trending all over Twitter, all over social media, and he is stirring up a storm. And I'm just going to come out and say this at the very beginning of our video. Nick Saban, he said a lot of stuff, which we're about to get into, but also a lot of people are labeling him as a hypocrite. He's catching a lot of backlash for what he stated, and I think it's because a lot of people out here, they're highly misinformed on the situation, and they're also taking what he said, not out of context, but they're not understanding it the right way. And we're not doing no intro, none of that. I don't got time to waste. You don't got time to waste either. We're getting straight into it. So yesterday, Nick Saban yet again was talking about the NIL, but this time on a more serious note in front of some people. And this is where he stated, quote unquote, all the things that I believed in for all these years, 50 years of coaching, no longer exist in college athletics. He also stated, quote unquote, it's whoever wants to pay the most money raised, the most money to buy the most players is going to have the best opportunity to win. And of course, you got everybody running with this saying, oh, well, Nick Saban went to Capitol Hill and complained about college players getting paid for several hours. I didn't even look at this article because there's no need to. I'm not wasting my time. I don't know if they're writing that headline for clicks and views, but if you genuinely believe Nick Saban doesn't want these college football players to create value for themselves and get paid, you don't know what you're talking about. And I can already feel myself getting fired up and going on a rant and tangent. Before I do that, let me show you this video clip to give you some more context.
All the things that I believed in for all these years, 50 years of coaching, no longer exist in college athletics. So it's always was about developing players. It was always about helping people be more successful in life.
I'm going to pause it right there. Did you hear that key phrase? Helping the players and helping people become more successful in life. That doesn't mean throwing $500,000 at them to come play for your school. Because a lot of people nowadays think the only way you can help these players or provide value to them is throw them $1 million paycheck. But for a lot of guys out here, that's actually the worst thing you could do for them, especially an 18 to 19-year-old kid. I'm not saying this goes for everybody, but you see it more times with kids when they obtain a serious amount of money at a young age. That can hurt them in the long run. I'll touch more on that in just a second. Let's continue along.
My wife even said to me, we'd have all the recruits over on Sunday with their parents for breakfast, and she would always meet with the mothers and talk about how she was going to help and impact their sons and how they would be well taken care of. And she came to me, like right before I retired and said, why are we doing this? And I said, what do you mean? She said, all they care about is how much you're going to pay them. They don't care about how you're going to develop them, which is all what we've always done. So why are we doing this?
Whew, man, oh man, what do y'all think about that? Now, to some of you, that may be shocking news, but to me, I talked to all these high school recruits, I talked to these college football players. I've been known this was the case. And it's funny because I was talking to a player the other night and he was telling me how he was telling a different school, hey, if you're not going to offer me over $1 million because I currently have those offers on the table, there's no need to even schedule a visit with me or continue talking with me. And we were laughing about it, and I don't think any less of him for doing that because more likely I do the same thing. It goes back to something I've been preaching. Hate the game, not the player. Most of us, 99.8% of us, if we could do the same thing they were doing, we do it. And in the real world, we do the same things. If a company's going to offer you $200K and another competitor company is going to offer you $300K, 99.9% of us, we're going to the highest offer, the highest bidder. But here's why it's so bad for college football. Because this is college football. This isn't a profession, or at least it's not supposed to be. And Nick Saban said some more stuff, but you know me, I like to touch on the main focal points, and this is the focal point. He's talking about the NIL and how it's been a detriment to college sports, and it will continue to be so. And to be honest with all of you, I don't know why Nick Saban's comments and his viewpoint on all this, it's going viral. I don't think there's anything controversial about this whatsoever, but you got people out here tweeting out stuff like this. Did this conversation take place at Nick Saban's new $20 million house that he got after leaving the Miami Dolphins because Alabama backed up the Brinks trucks to get him to leave? Or at one of his Mercedes dealerships? Referring to that, oh, well, Nick Saban and all these other coaches, they're getting millions and millions of dollars. And yeah, all these big-time head coaches, they're making roughly $7, $8, $9, $10 million per year. But guess what? Newsflash, buddy! Nick Saban earned his way to get to that point. It took him years, I'm talking about years and years and years of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears to get to the point where he's the head coach of Alabama and make $8, $9, $10 million per year. When Nick Saban first started his coaching career, he didn't start out making $5 million per year. He started out as some nobody, and he had to work his way up and create value for himself. But the difference is, and I really want you to hear me on this, these players are wanting to get paid before they bring any value whatsoever to the table. That's the difference. And yet again, I'm not faulting the players for it to the slightest of bits. Hate the game, not the player. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm hating NIL. If you've been watching the channel for any amount of time now, you know I've been preaching this. With the good, you're going to get the bad. And that's what you're currently seeing with the NIL. When we implemented the NIL, I think everybody has forgotten its sole purpose. The purpose of it wasn't to create these huge alumni and booster organizations where we can pay all these players to come to Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, etc. No. That was not what it was supposed to be. What NIL was supposed to be is after you ball out for 1 to 2 seasons and you create that value for yourself, you can earn some endorsement deals, some brand deals. A good example, since we're talking about Nick Saban here, was Bryce Young. You saw him on the Dr. Pepper Fansville thing. You saw him, I think he had a Nissan sponsorship, stuff like that. You saw Bryce Young earn NIL deals because he was the top player in the nation and he had commercials and sponsorships. Well, now what you're seeing is you got these 4- and 5-star recruits that haven't even done anything on the college football field. They're getting millions of dollars. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. And let me dumb this down even more. It was supposed to be college football first, then somebody reaches out to you and say, hey, we want to put you in a commercial. Oh, sweet. I might make some money for playing college football. That's how it was supposed to be. And nobody had a problem with that. But now the players, they're thinking about it like this. You pay me, and then I'll think about working hard on the field. And I guess why it's so hard for people to understand is because there is a gray area. There is that gray line. Because it's hard for people to understand when Nick Saban says, hey, I want these guys to get paid, and I'm for them getting paid, but the NIL is bad for college football, because to some people it could sound like Nick Saban and even myself here, we're contradicting ourselves, but we're not. And what blows my mind with all of this is you got all these people saying, oh, well, Nick Saban, look at him. He's just old and bitter. And he's all mad now because these young guys, they're getting paid and they're finally getting some money. Really? Really, bro? Come on, you don't even believe that. Let me ask you a question, a real deal serious question here. You really think on Nick Saban's, I don't know, let's just say Wednesday night, it's keeping them up at night that players are getting a couple $100,000, even a couple $1 million? Heck to the no, that guy's dang near well, he's not a billionaire, but he's at least $100 millionaire. You really think Nick Saban's going, gosh, man, Miss Terry, I can't believe that kid got $400,000, man. He didn't earn that $400,000. Come on, be real with yourself. Let me give you a better example here so people like me and you can relate. That'd be the equivalent to Elon Musk finding out that somebody that works for a car dealership, they got a $100,000 raise. So Elon don't care about you. He don't care about you got a $100,000 raise. That's $1 to him. If you can't understand that Nick Saban is one of the most genuine guys you're ever going to meet and hear talk, you're just lost, man, and I don't know what to tell you. Saban really wants the best for these players, and there's a reason you haven't heard any of the prior Alabama players say any bad thing about him, because he's a great guy. That's all there is to it. And he understands and realizes that 90% of these college football players, or it's actually probably higher than that, they're not going to play at the next level. And if your number one priority, it's okay to want money and focus on it, but if that's above the game itself, that's not going to be good for you in the long run. Because what's going to happen is, and we're currently seeing it happening in front of our eyes, is you're going to give these kids $500,000 to $1 million. They're going to buy a Lamborghini. They're going to buy a bunch of nice stuff, fancy stuff, and they're going to feel like the big baller, the top G, the top shot, whatever you want to call them. And they're going to go, hey, you know what? I had a good first season. I don't need to even finish my degree. I don't need to focus on school. I don't need to do any of that. And they're going to get hurt. Something's going to happen. or they're just plain and simply not going to make the NFL, and now they're in their mid-20s and 30s and they don't know what to do. I mean, could you imagine, I'm trying to put myself in their positions here, getting a couple $1 million at the age of 18 or 19? And to go on top of that, as an 18 or 19-year-old with a couple $1 million, you're a top-tier athlete, everybody's worshiping the ground you walk on, your ego is going to be through the roof. We'll end off the video with this. I don't know what we're going to do. Like, what is even the point of Nick Saban talking about this? Because there's no takey backsies. We've already opened up Pandora's box, and once you open it, you can't close it. What are we going to do in a year from now? Revoke the NIL? Are we going to limit it? I don't think you can. And it's hard to think of a solution because, guys, I don't know how you would do it, because I'm not in favor of, everybody tries to bring this up, well, just have a set base salary for every player on Alabama's football team. Every player every single year gets $100,000 or $50K or X amount. Well, I don't think that's fair, not to the slightest, because the starting quarterback is way more valuable than the third-string defensive lineman. We're all over the place. We'll end out the video here. Let me know your thoughts on Nick Saban's comments down below. But,